Good morning, Modern Steaders. It is a nice brisk 5 degrees out this morning. It is a chilly one, but it is beautiful out. As you can tell by the title of the video, we are selling 2 of our goats today, but we'll explain more of that in a little bit. Good morning, ladies. You looking for breakfast? Look at that nice red sky. You ladies ready? Come on. I know, it's nice and chilly. I'll give you some feed and warm you up. I don't mind this cold weather though, because if they did, they wouldn't be coming out of NYC. Right, ladies? Good morning, Moose. Their water froze up good overnight. We found the rubber dishes work best for watering all the chickens in the winter, because no matter what, the water's gonna freeze. And it's easy just to stomp out the ice and fill it up a couple of times a day. Good morning, boys. You want some eggs? You're always waiting on that door for me, Caleb. Where are you waiting for, huh? Have some fresh hay. Yes. She's peeing, but not on your boot this morning. You ready to let the other girls out there, Buttercup? Come on. There you go, little pig. Oh, I just got their text. They're on their way. They're gonna be here in a few minutes, so I need to get back down to the barn. You ladies ready for this? Are you lonely now there, little man? We'll bring you back over with the girls. We ended up selling our 2 breeding bucks. The little man here, he is a wether, which he's a male. That means he's been castrated, so he can't breed. So he's gonna go back in with the girls now. He was always out here to keep the breeding bucks buddies. Come here.
Yeah.
Now he's lonely. Goats are herd animals. They don't like being by themselves. So we'll bring him in with the ladies, and then we'll explain to you why we ended up selling the bucks and how it ended up being a perfect situation for us and the bucks. You ready, little man? Come on, quick. I don't want any of the girls getting out. Come on. There you go. They're reunited. What do you think, little man? So little man smells like a buck right now because he's been in with the boys. So they're all like, what are you doing? I guess time will tell, but hopefully Hope and little P are pregnant. Hope should be. We put her in there 2 heat cycles ago, so she hasn't come back into heat, so she should be pregnant. And I'm pretty sure little P's pregnant this time too. You still got all the ladies' attention there, little man?
How you doing? No.
He's loving it.
You loving it? Look at Willow. Like, look.
He smells like a stinky buck.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of people asking, Al, why are you getting rid of your bucks? We got rid of our bucks because we're gonna be busy this coming spring. We're gonna have a lot of stuff to do here. We got the greenhouse. We're gonna have Hope and little P having babies.
Yep.
We'll be planting our garden, doing more stuff for the pastures here. We're hoping to get into sheep. We're gonna get a couple of sheep this spring, 2 of them, and then we're gonna raise them for food for us. Make sure we like the breed, make sure we like the taste of that breed's meat before we start getting into raising sheep for meat.
With milking this year, we know that 2 goats in milk was plenty for us for the consumption from what we're doing with the milk, what we drink, and I do yogurt, so that was enough.
It's getting cold, let's go in the milking room. 2 goats in milk was perfect for our milk consumption needs this year. So we chose Hope and little P to breed this year. Little P is Buttercup's sister, and Buttercup comes from really good milking lines, and she was a really good milker. The reason we chose not to breed Buttercup is if you breed a goat, you gotta stop milking them 2 to 3 months before they have their babies. So if Buttercup was bred, we'd have to stop milking her, and right now she's the only goat we are milking. So by not breeding her, we're keeping our fingers crossed that we'll be able to milk her all the way up until Hope has her babies. So then we'll always have a supply of goat's milk.
Or at least a little longer. So far, her milk consumption from the beginning has dropped a little, but we're still getting about 16 ounces per day, which is plenty for us right now. Still able to have milk to drink and to make yogurt for our needs now.
This is our first year of milking Buttercup. So we are hoping that her milk production stays up right to towards the end. And then we chose Hope because can't say it too loud, but Hope's our favorite goat. She has a really good personality.
Really good
We love Hope's personality, and she comes from really good milking lines.
Yes.
And we bred her with Zeke, Zeke comes from really good milking lines. His mother and grandmother are star milkers, so he is a star milking buck, or however that is, however you would say that. His lines are going to produce really good milking lines. So we bred him with Hope, and we're hoping that Hope has a boy. Because if Hope has a boy, we can keep her buck, and it's going to be a really good buck to make good milking lines, because Hope comes from good milking lines, and so does Zeke. And we can breed her with everybody except, or we could breed him with everybody except for Hope and Ivy.
Right.
Because Ivy's father is Zeke.
Right.
And then if little P is a good milker and she has a baby, we bred her with Caleb. We could keep one of her boys as a buck and breed Hope with that buck, or we could just bring in a new buck.
Right.
Because we'd like to have 2, because if you have 2, you can kind of alternate and keep good lines going. So we've been kicking around the idea of bringing in another dairy goat buck from another YouTuber. out there that has really good milking lines, but I don't know if we'll do that this spring or not. I don't think it'd be this spring, but later on we could.
And if Little Pete has a boy, it would only be able to breed with Hope, but like we said, it would have good milking lines if we think. If Little Pete is a good milker, then we can still carry that on.
And then Hope could breed, Hope's buck could breed Little P, and everybody come next fall. The breeder that we got our buck from ended up having to downsize all of her breeding stock last year because of an illness. So when I contacted her and said, hey, I just want to let you know we're going to be selling our bucks. I don't know if you know of anybody looking for any, or if you would want any. She was like, actually, I had to downsize last year because of an illness, and now I want to start my breeding stuff back up. So I'm looking for bucks right now, and Zeke comes from her star line, so it worked out perfect. They came, got the bucks today. They're going to be going back and breeding other goats and carrying on those good lines. So, because
it's not an easy decision to change things up.
But we also know it's not fair. Bucks are made for breeding. Like, that's one thing that's on their mind. So if we're only using them for 2 goats right now, because we're going to be wicked busy this spring, it's not fair to keep them around and just having them over there. So if they can be getting used for what their intended purposes are, it works out for them too.
Right.
So they'll be happier being with other goats. The place they're going to right now has 8 ladies, so they'll be happy with that. They'll keep them busy. Then we're planning on trying Katahdin sheep. So if you guys have any ideas or suggestions or what your recommendations are with Katahdin sheeps, leave it in the comments down below, good or bad. The cool thing we were reading about with Katahdin sheeps is that breed was made in Maine. That's just the bordering state. So they're good for our climate. They're good for our humidity. They're good for our cold. And they are a hair sheep, so they have hair kind of like a goat. It's not a wool like ones you have to shear. So they produce less lanolin. So that means their meat is supposed to be less gamey or lanolin tasting, whatever you want to call that. It's supposed to be more of a mild tasting meat. So we are excited about this upcoming spring. There's a lot of stuff going on at the current homestead, and then there'll be a lot going on at the new off-grid property. The plan is to get up to the off-grid property at some point and be living there, but there's a lot of stuff to do. So we got to figure all out our timing up there with what we're going to be doing. But everything that we have on this homestead we'll have up there. We'll just be able to have a lot more of it. It won't be a homestead anymore. It'll be a farm or a ranch, whatever you want to call it. So.
And also, we like to spend a lot of time with the baby goats. So if we just have a few baby goats, we can still be able to spend that quality time. So they will be really good with people. And so,
the more we found, the more time you spend with the baby goats, the friendlier they are with people. They're not as skittish. So if we only have 2 goats bred, we can spend a lot more time with their babies. And if we had all of them bred this year with everything going on, we wouldn't be milking all of them, because we don't have the need for it, and we're not going to have time to make soap or anything, and we wouldn't have the time to spend with all the baby goats, so it's not fair. I think having the sheep and the goats together, or keeping them both on the farm, running them through the different areas, because we have a lot of land over there we're going to be clearing. We're not taking down all the trees. We want to do a lot of silvopasture, which is trees and pasture combined. So we can run pigs through. Actually, we probably run the sheep, the goats, and then we can run the pigs through to root it up, and then they'll get grass. And then at some point we could either bring a cow in or cows in for meat, and we could rotationally graze everything. We can have pigs, sheep, goats, and cows, and the chickens and everything all working together, developing that land and making some really nice silvopasture and keeping a lot of it forest and keeping it forest for pigs. So we're going to be doing a lot of construction and just developing that land over there. So we're going to be busy with that. So we know we have a lot on our plate. We're trying to make sure that what is on our plate is right for the seasons, and we're not taking on too much of one thing, because we still want to raise most of our own meat here. We still got to raise our meat chickens come spring. We're going to be raising pigs, our egg layers, our goats, baby goats. We just don't want to have too much of all of that at one time with everything new going on.
We still are we want to still grow in a greenhouse and do what we learned so much this year, and we just want to just keep growing in our learning experience in that, and growing the stuff that we are going to eat, the stuff that we like, be able to preserve that in different ways. Like, did we like pressure canning, or just canning, or freezing, or dehydrating? We're just trying to figure out what's the best for us and how we use the food.
I'm really excited that we already have the greenhouse built. This past you too. Maybe we'll be building a few more at the new property someday. But last year during the springtime, we were building the greenhouse, so we didn't get an early start on gardening. This year, we're gonna be able to get an early start. The greenhouse is in growing zone 7B right now. So we should be able to get a really early start compared to normal planting in there. So we're gonna be actually starting some seeds in another month or two in the basement.
Right, yeah.
We're gonna start tomatoes, onions. We should probably start now from seed if we want to start the onions from seed. So we're gonna be doing a lot of growing.
Right. Yeah.
It's gonna be soon that we're gonna need to start growing in the basement to be ready for the greenhouse.
I think that you know that the wintertime's a little bit slower for you, but then it's all of a sudden that time when you start doing stuff happens.
Wintertime is slower, but it's almost just as busy. Like it shifts from different things. Like it takes longer to do chores.
Yeah. You
got to tend with a lot of frozen water lines or frozen buckets. You got to do a lot of planning for next year, calculator, and figuring out what you want. But so it's a shift. It's still almost just as busy, but yeah, it's not very long. Like I said, we're going to be starting to grow stuff in the greenhouse shortly. We got to sit down and figure out what we're going to be starting and when we're going to be starting and make sure we have everything here. We ordered most of our stuff. We'll have to do a video on what we got and what we have coming and where it's coming from, because it's going to be time for that pretty soon, which is exciting at the same time.
And we have some things that we have decided that we're going to try differently to add to the greenhouse. That would be
a lot of it's recommendations from you guys, like, oh hey, did you know this or that? And we're like, nope. And then we started looking at it, we're like, oh, that would work awesome in the greenhouse, or this plant would grow better. So there's a lot of suggestions that we've listened to from you guys, so thank you very much for all of them. We'll get into more details in a different video on that stuff, but we're excited to get growing in the greenhouse, and it's going to be a lot earlier than it was last year.
Yes.
No building a greenhouse in snowstorms. If you guys haven't seen that, I'll put a link right here to the time-lapse build. It was crazy weather. I mean,
so crazy.
It got nice out, and then it wasn't nice out, and then it was like a blizzard while we were standing up.
I think the worst part was it was frozen ground, and then it would warm up, and then it would be mud, and mud is just as bad as ice sometimes. And I'm like,
I think mud is worse
you're climbing
than
up
ice.
those ladders. Not that I was climbing up, but
get stuck on your boots. Your boots weigh about 10 pounds, and
and you're like, oh, this is not anything, and you're like,
This year we get to reap the benefits of all of our hard work. So we're excited with all the changes coming on the homestead. There's definitely some changes coming on, but they're all for the good. And yeah, it's going to be good. We got a lot of new exciting things coming up. I hope you guys are excited. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe, because there's a lot of new stuff going on. It's going to be almost weekly now. So I'm excited and looking forward to it.
Yeah, excited.
Little man's over there with the girls. Now you think it's your turn, Pluto? Oh, one would be nice.
I'm gonna say 0.
I'm gonna say 0 too, but
Nothing.
Nothing. Just hoping for 1. Did you ladies eat all your hay? What are you doing, little man? What do you think, little man? Did you ladies eat all that Christmas tree yet? It's day 3 of the Christmas tree. Let's see how it's holding up. They got about all the needles just about eaten off of it. Look at that thing. Let's spin it for them. There we go. It'll take them a few days to get adjusted to having a new goat in here, but they'll all be buddies before you know it. Huh, Nora? Little man is one of Willow's babies. He was born the same time as Little P and Maggie. What are you doing, Hope? You don't want any of the Christmas tree? How many do you think?
3.
3.
How many do you think?
5. That's what I hope for.
2.
Chicken was in there. Just 2. And your mama scared you. Ah, that was a good one. You don't think so, Livy's?
No.
No?
That really scare you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll have to put it on slow-mo.
No. No.
Slow-mo scare. Whoa.
No.
You ready to get some carrots for tonight's dinner?
I remembered it 2 seconds ago and forgot already. What happened?
Smells like a greenhouse. That's not carrots.
I'm gonna give it to the chicken.
Oh, let's see what we got. That's a 3-legged carrot. Actually, yeah, 3-legged with a hitchhiker on the back.
That's all 1 carrot.
Yep. No, she's got a good root. Oh boy. There's that one. It's not the one I was going for yet. Oh, that's a nice long one.
Is that the one you were trying to get?
That is. How many more do you want? That should do it. What were you doing, mister?
What were you doing?
You ladies gonna eat your greens?
We are super excited because we're having some beef stew tonight. We all love beef stew, and I'm really excited because my wonderful husband got me a new pot for Christmas and it finally came in. It's an enameled lodge pot. Really excited to use it. Beef is all brown, so now I'm just going to splash a little bit of red wine vinegar and get up the bits down in there, just like a couple tablespoons. Add in my chicken broth. I'm using chicken broth because that's what we have on hand. I don't have any beef broth. Tablespoons of tomato paste. All in. And I want to bring this up to a boil while I'm getting the rest of the vegetables. I'm going to use potatoes, carrots, and onions tonight. take a long time to cook, so I just want to make sure I add this now.
Dear Lord, thank you for
Time to heal, yet still you fight with what you're told and hold on.
Well, we're sad to see the breeding bucks go, but we are excited for this new chapter in our life. Over the next few years, there's going to be a lot more adventures going on the homestead, or should I say farm. Thanks for coming along on our homesteading journey. If you guys liked the video, give it a thumbs up. While you're down there, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and let us know what kind of videos you'd like to see over at the new off-grid property. Thanks for coming along, and we'll see you right back here in the next video at Lumnah Acres.